But you can't walk out there.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. And before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest and repeat offender on Ron Siegel Radio. Jim Norton is with us.
Where's my music?
It's right there. Oh, no.
Oh, I get clapped?
Some reason somebody was applauding you. I have no idea why.
It's my fans.
Did you pay them all?
I did.
Okay.
Didn't have to pay too many. There was only 3 people there.
Yeah, we only have 7 listeners, so we're okay.
There
Jim
you go.
Norton's with us. Hey, let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you, and you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan, a plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we are celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. National Cherry Cheesecake Day?
Seriously?
Yes.
Now you've got my attention.
Holy cow, we just woke up, Jim.
Yeah.
And I didn't even have to stop.
Did you bring one?
Records.
Did you stop and get one on the way in? Portos?
No, they weren't opened yet. But
Cheesecake Factory.
Cheesecake Factory.
Okay.
So, question of the day, what's your favorite kind of cheesecake? It's National Cherry Cheesecake Day. What's your favorite cheesecake?
It's easy. Plain New York cheesecake.
Plain New York cheesecake.
Juniors. But you got to get it in New York.
Okay, well.
Now, you got to remember, I've never been to New York. My wife has.
How do you know that you got to be in New York?
Because
then?
my wife used to go to New York weekly, every other week. And
that wouldn't be weekly. That'd be bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly, excuse me. She'd bring stuff home.
He's better in real estate than he is in English.
Yeah, but I don't know how to travel. But she'd fly home with the Junior's cheesecake. Oh, they're so good. But
really?
And then the other thing that was great from New York, you've not had a bagel till you get a New York bagel.
Okay, I used to have an office in New York. I'll put a Shirley's bagel fresh out of the oven and Costa Mesa against any bagel anywhere in the country.
Oh, we have a challenge.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Give me your credit card. I'm going to fly to New York and get bagels.
Okay. Well, there's a $100 bill right in front of you.
There you go.
Not a problem.
I can use that.
Okay, so what's your favorite kind of cheesecake? Put it in the chat for us. Now, I'm going to throw out there, I'm going to go on a limb here because I like cherry cheesecake. My mom used to make it. Blueberry cheesecake, she made that one.
Uh-huh.
But how about peanut butter and chocolate cheesecake from the Cheesecake Factory?
Oh, that's I don't know. What are we doing for lunch today? Hey, are we going to lunch?
Well, something after having just done a show yesterday on losing weight, I probably shouldn't be going over there.
Well, you know what? That's why we have Ozempic.
There you go. Okay. Josh, we'll put that in there. rsrlinks.com/shot. rsrlinks.com/shot. Today's also National Picnic Day. Okay. I'll go for a picnic. I mean, I'm not a big picnic person, but that looks like my kind of picnic. A nice charcuterie board there, a couple glasses of wine. That's not a real, I'm looking at the picnic on the National Day calendar, and they've got hamburgers and hot dogs and potato chips. I'm going to just go out on a limb here, and that's not what I would. That wasn't what I was thinking of. Now, if you're talking about what Josh put on the picture here, I'll go with that one. Couple glasses of wine, cheeses, crackers, strawberries. I don't know. Is there any whipped cream on there? But I did go
That one's out of Temecula.
a rolling, but
They're on the wineries. Oh, we're not going to Temecula. Okay.
Paso Robles.
Paso Robles.
I
excuse
still
me.
haven't. Anybody that's in Temecula listening to us, feel free if you want to. But I haven't found any real great wineries out there. And I'm open to it. But I just haven't.
Do I have to pause and pay homage to Austin Hope at this point?
Yeah, well, I like Austin Hope. Their 21 wasn't a great vintage, but I digress.
Oh, I'd love to do a whole show on that.
We could do that. I could probably even invite Austin to come on.
Wait.
Today's Army Reserve Day, Army Reserve Birthday. Appreciate our military men and women. So that's a good one. And I also noticed on here, I was just going through here, email day. No, thank you. I get more than enough of that. English Muffin Day. And
do the English make the best English muffins, or is that just an American thing?
I think it's an American thing.
Okay.
Thomas's, and I don't think Thomas's is from England. And I guess thankfully there's a 4-foot table between us here because it's National Lovers Day, and neither one of us have our wives with us, so we're going to stay away from that. Let's take a look and see what the markets are doing, because that might be more interesting, and we'll find that out when my computer screen refreshes here. But we've had a rocky road, you can go Rocky Road cheesecake. That's a whole different story. Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 1,016 points right now. The S&P 500 is up 129. The NASDAQ is up 429. Oil down 93 cents a barrel. And the 10-year Treasury, let's take a look and see what's going on with that 10-year Treasury, because it has been on a rocky road as well. And I'll tell you exactly why. It's because there's a lot of people out there that, it's the media. I'm going to tell you this. The fake news media is really doing all of us a disservice, because if you want to hear something good about President Trump, go to Fox News. You'll hear all you want. If you want to hear something bad about President Trump, ABC, NBC, CBS, and MSNBC, Hee-Haw, Cannabis News Network, any other one you want to, then you'll find something negative. So why listen to them in the first place when you know what they're going to say? But I digress here. The 10-year Treasury right now is down about 4 basis points. It has gone a lot higher. It opened 6 basis points lower than where it is today right now, and it was 12 basis points better earlier in the day. So the bottom line on this one is the markets always overreact. And we had 2 stories coming out that were the media blowing things up, as they generally do. One of them was that President Trump said about that the termination of Jerome Powell can't come soon enough. Now, if you're thinking of firing somebody, wouldn't you say, I'm thinking about firing them, I got to get rid of them? Termination coming soon enough, as somebody in the administration did clarify, well, his term is up in May. His term as chairman is up May of 2026. So that would be the termination of his chairmanship. He is a governor at the Federal Reserve until 2028, January of 2028. So he could still be there even after that. So we'll watch those things, the terminology. And that however the president says anything, the media is going to take it in the most negative way possible. Now we're also looking to say, okay, he said we're not going to have as bad a tariffs. Now, again, I've talked to you about this before. When you're talking about tariffs, if you go at 75% tariff, you go at 100% tariff, you go to 150% tariff, 200% tariff, they all mean the exact same thing. It means we don't buy the product. Very, very simple. So when he says it's not going to be as bad, well, the market overreacts on that too. And now I look, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 497 points and falling. Scott Besson offers a gentler message saying America first does not mean America alone. So we'll watch that. Oil's down $2.43 a barrel right now. That's good news. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, we're going to chat about real estate, and Diana Olick is at it again. We'll talk about that. What's your house worth now? The answer may surprise you. And how to use your mortgage to boost retirement savings. All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452. You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And every day at this time, OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual lock rates across consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. They don't tell us points paid, points received, or the APR. They tell us the number you need to put into your mortgage calculator to find out exactly what your principal and interest payment will be. If you don't have a mortgage calculator, get it. rsrlinks.com/mobile app. rsrlinks.com/mobile app. What did rates do yesterday? Conventional 30-year fixed 6.828. That was down. Jumbo 30-year fixed 7.16. That was up. FHA 30-year fixed 6.555. That was up. VA 30-year fixed 6.495. That was up. And the USDA 30-year fixed 6.494. That was down. Each and every business day morning, as early as the data allows, we do put out our report. It's already out for today. rsrlinks.com/market minute. rsrlinks.com/market minute. We put that out again each and every business day morning, as early as the data allows. Let's see what the markets are doing today. S&P 500 is now up 87.75. The 10-year Treasury down 3 basis points. The mortgage bond, it's up 13 basis points. If you remember, I've told you over and over again, the markets always overreact. And they did today again because, as I shared, the market has gone, it's just completely changing course. And again, I look at the 10-year Treasury, the low of the day on the 10-year Treasury today. And again, the markets for the 10-year Treasury, the bond market, opens before the stock market does. But the low is 4.25. We're now at 4.37. So it's gone back up again. We want to see that going down. As I've shared, I think will probably be about 3.8 by the end of the year. The mortgage-backed securities, the low of the day, 98.79. Now we're at 98.85. So that one, again, we've retraced a bit on that one. And as you know, every bit of that data is available on the super secret website, if you know where to look, google.com. Now it's even easier to find it because you can go to ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, all of those things. What they don't have is what I'm going to tell you right now. Stocks and mortgage bonds both higher once again this morning, getting help from Treasury Secretary Bessent and President Trump, who had calming comments to the markets. Bassett said he thinks there will be a de-escalation in the U.S.-China trade tensions. It makes sense for both countries in their best interest as we are reliant on each other for many things. So if there can be an agreement put together, it's better than the trade embargo that we're essentially seeing right now. Bassett also spoke about bank deregulation, which he thinks will get done. If it does, it would make it easier for banks to hold treasuries, which would cause rates to move lower and likely reduce spreads between mortgage rates and treasuries. President Trump said that he has no intention of firing Jerome Powell, which was a big fear based on some of his comments over the last week or the way those comments were taken. His assurance removed a lot of uncertainty and helped to calm the markets. New home sales, measures signed contracts on new homes rose 7.4% to a 724,000 unit annualized pace, which was much stronger than estimates, but you wouldn't know it if you watched Diana Olick. And you know something? I'm going to give her the Jerome Powell.
Such an idiot. Such an idiot.
So Diana Olick has been predicting for the last 11 years a bubble in the housing market. Now, I've been talking to you on Ron Siegel Radio for 15 years, right after the bubble in the housing market. Right? I started this in 2010. The bubble was burst by that point. And 15 years later, we still haven't seen that bubble. But Diana Olick, you know something, you keep on going out there. Eventually, well, maybe I shouldn't say that. Under normal circumstances, I would say eventually she's going to be right. But she might be retired before the first time she gets anything in housing right. Appeared to be reaching for any negativity that she could, citing that sales were weaker in the previous 2 months due to weather. And those sales were pushed into March. However, the February report originally showed a 1.8% rise in new home sales. And this morning that was revised to 3.1%. Sorry, Diana, you're wrong there again. This was a good report all around. Lower and stable mortgage rates, relatively speaking, around 6.625 to 6.75 on average. Definitely helped activity. It's a positive sign. See, even with rates at those levels, there is demand and more transaction. A lot of the sales took place in the South, where the average home price is often less than the rest of the country. For that reason, and the mix of sales, median home prices fell almost 2% to 404,000. There were 503,000 new homes for sale at the end of March, which is the highest number since November 2007. But a lot of that is just air. Only 119,000 are completed and move-in ready, while 112,000 have not even been started. 272,000 are still under construction. So the only number that matters there is the number that is completed, 119,000, because many of us prefer living indoors. Just throwing that out there. Dividing the monthly pace of sales into the total inventory shows that there is an 8.3 month supply, but doing the same calculation with completed homes shows only a 2 month supply. Very, very tight. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. So Diana Olick is always wrong. We've kind of established that. And the reports that I share with you are accurate because we're just reporting the numbers. But what does that mean for you? Probably not a whole heck of a lot, because I don't know anybody that's buying a national house, right? You're really going to buy something that's probably a little bit more local. So when we want to talk about local, we talked to Jim Norton, and he is our guest. He's actually been in the real estate industry since the day of teepees and covered wagons. So he's got a lot of history here. Out on the street.
Are you saying I was in 2001 Space Odyssey?
No, I think I'm saying that somewhere around
the beginning of time.
The Pilgrims. I mean,
sold the first lot when they got off at Plymouth.
Well, you spent a lot of time in development, right?
A lot of time.
Okay, so that date of the Pilgrims, right?
That goes back to chopping our own wood, building a log cabin.
So let's talk about, and Josh, put the banner up there for me, if you would. rsrlinks.com/market report. So this is where you're going to go when you're not able to listen to Ron Siegel Radio, rsrlinks.com/market report. And you can see that that's where you go when you want to find out what's happening in your zip code and you don't have access to Jim Norton's phone number. So you've got some houses that you've been selling lately.
It's just stole the one last night.
Okay.
You were in bed and I was working.
Congratulations.
I
Who's got it better there?
I'm not sure, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Let's take it. If you want to know what the market's doing, this is city of Rancho Cucamonga.
Okay.
Great, beautiful city out in the Inland Empire. Great shopping. That's if everybody goes up the 15 to Vegas, you see the Bass Pro Shops. That's Victoria Gardens. Great, beautiful.
They have a cheesecake
layout.
factory there.
Pardon?
I think they have a cheesecake factory there.
I'm not sure on that if they do or not. But they do have a van store because I did have to run over and pick up some vans for one of the kids when I was out there.
You tell the difference in us. He's talking about vans.
Yeah, talking about cheesecake. But anyways, one story, 1,700 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 7,200 square foot lot, 1980-ish build, 3 days on the market, 9 offers, 5 above listing. Excuse me, with the exception of one, and they said they were going to come in low. We knew that. All 8 were above listing, and 5 were clearly above the other 2. You know what I'm saying? So it was. It tells you the demand out there is still strong. My warning is that if you're on the fence, get off the fence now, because if interest rates go into the low 6s, which probably won't be till the end of the year. I think we've had this discussion, but if the lower the interest rates start going, they're not going to 4, they're not going to 3, but if you can get into the 6s, the buyers are going to just keep coming out of the woodwork.
So here's what I'd like to know, because when somebody tells me, when a real estate professional tells me they got a lot of offers over listing, okay, that's meaningful to some people, but you have to me, I want to put it into context a little bit.
Okay, let's do that.
So when you listed the property, was it your plan that you wanted to list low to get that bidding war going?
No, actually, I like to list at based on the comps. So hopefully you have good comps in the area, which there were some good sales. And we just came in right on top of the mark of the last comps, so that we weren't pushing it. We didn't go, oh, let's take the last comp, add 20%. No, we didn't play that kind of game. We wanted to make sure, because what I worry about is always appraisal. Most people worry about, I want to get the sale, I want to get that, but you got to make sure you can have the closing.
Back up to before we get to the appraisal. So a lot of people will look and they want to deal with the pricing. And we know that if you price low, from the charts that Josh is going to show us right now, that you're going to get more people seeing a property.
Right.
If you price too high, you're going to get less people seeing the property.
And then you've got difficulties, because it's really, really hard to back down a price.
Right.
Because people are wondering, why are you backing down? Did you overprice it, or is there something wrong with the house?
Well, and I'm going to submit that with you having 8 offers over list price, that the seller now has a lot of options, and the buyer has much fewer options when it comes to asking for any concessions and repairs or any of those kind of things.
Right. But if you're, I will add, of the top 4 we considered, I have to give kudos to the agents. They were all very well put together professional offers. None of this where they just sent in here's what we were thinking, it was all detailed professional offers.
Hold that thought, because one of the things I was in a conversation with yesterday was about lawsuits. And a lot of people don't want to hear those words, but we're going to talk about it when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Confused about the home buying process? Or curious how much you really know about buying a home? Take the First Home IQ quiz to test your understanding of buying a home. Created by the nonprofit First Home IQ, this 5-minute quiz will give you a score, what you missed, and why. Take the quiz in 5 minutes at rsrlinks.com/FHIQ and find out what you need to know about buying your first home. That's rsrlinks.com/FHIQ.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. What can you do when mortgage rates are a moving target? Have you seen where mortgage rates have been lately? One day they go down a little, the next day they go back up. It can feel confusing and even frustrating if you're trying to decide whether now is a good time to buy a home. Take a look. We have a graph, and I don't know, because I pulled the report that we were using yesterday. Of course, Josh has it. Take a look at the graph if you're watching us on ronsiegelradio.tv, any of our socials at ABC News and Talk, AM 1490, FM 98.1 video feed. It uses data from Mortgage News Daily, show that after a relatively stable month of March, mortgage rates have been a bit of a roller coaster ride in April. This kind of up and down volatility is expected when economic changes are happening. And that's one of the reasons why trying to time the market isn't your best move. You can't control what happens with mortgage rates, but you're not powerless. Even with all the economic uncertainty right now, there are things you can do. You can control your credit score, loan type, and loan term. That way you can get the best possible rate today. Your credit score can really affect the mortgage rate you qualify. Even a small change in your score can make a big difference in your monthly payment. Like Bankrate says, quote, your credit score is one of the most important factors lenders consider when they apply for a mortgage. When you apply for a mortgage, not just to qualify for the loan itself, but for the conditions. Typically, the higher your score, the lower the interest rates and better terms you'll qualify for, unquote. Keeping your credit score up is key when it comes to qualifying for a home loan. If you're not sure where your score stands or how to improve it, rsrlinks.com/Sora. rsrlinks.com/Sora. 30-second loan app. It's a mini app. We kind of look at your credit score for you with a soft pull. It does not affect your score. Once you've gone and done that, everybody should have already looked at by now, because I've been telling you for years. rsrlinks.com/CC payment. rsrlinks.com/CC payment. And that one at .com, of course. And that one's going to tell you how to pay your credit cards the right way for credit scoring purposes. Still 90% of the people I talk to do it wrong. Your loan type. There are also different types of loans out there, and each one comes with unique requirements for qualified borrowers. The Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, CFPB, explains, quote, there are several broad categories of mortgage loans, such as conventional FHA, USDA, and VA loans, and the best loan on the market. You know what it is. The Home Select loan. GetHomeselect.com. GetHomeselect.com. Lenders decide which products to offer, and loan types have different eligibility requirements. Rates can be significantly different depending on what loan type you choose. Talking to multiple lenders can help you better understand all of the options available to you. Always work with a mortgage professional to figure out which loan makes the most sense for you and your financial situation. Your loan term, just like there are different loan types, there are also different loan terms. Freddie Mac puts it like this, quote, when choosing the right home loan for you, it is important to consider the loan term, which is the length of time it will take to repay your loan before you fully own your home. Your loan term will affect your interest rate, monthly payment, and the total amount of interest you will pay over the life of the loan, unquote. Most lenders typically offer 15, 20, or 30-year conventional loans. Just stick with the 30. The other two fail. And I'll tell you what they fail. safety, liquidity, and return. They fail on every one of them. Bottom line, you can't control what's happening with the economy or mortgage rates, but you can work with a trusted lender that takes steps that'll help you get the best possible rate. Let's connect. Give me a call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by, that's the Real-Time Real Estate segment, brought to you by our friends at rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. So let's chat a little bit. We're going to follow up on our prior segment. We're chatting this morning. Jim Norton is with us. He is a professional real estate expert. And I don't know why we got a big black box in the middle of the screen on my end anyway. Best Jim's looked in years. There we go. Okay, so maybe it's just my screen.
Not bad.
So as many people know, one of the biggest saviors nowadays in time is AI. So I had a thought yesterday, and sometimes that'll get a little scary when I have these thoughts. And I wanted to know what percentage of real estate transactions end in litigation when one or both parties are not represented by a professional agent. And you know me, I am not very trusting. I want to know where the data comes from as well as what the data says. So support the data came that we're going to get here. The National Association of Realtors 2021 legal scan, errors and omissions insurance carrier insights. It's a big one. California Association of Realtors risk management reports. So they basically said that when you're not represented by a professional, the legal risk can be as much as 300 to 400% higher.
Wow.
And that's before counting the hidden costs of a mistake. So just the legal risk. And if you have a bad mistake, wonder what that's going to cost you. So when I talk to you about getting professional guidance and don't leave this to chance, there's a big issue right there. Unless you like lawsuits.
Did they have what was the top reason? Did they have
I didn't ask that question, but I can put that in there.
They might not have that. They just have the lawsuits.
Yeah.
There's too many variables.
Okay, so I'm gonna just put, is there a top reason or a top issue? So we'll see if it comes back and gives us an answer. But the reason I brought that came to mind is okay. Here's what this usually includes: is water damage, foundation cracks, unpermitted work, neighborhood nuisances, and previous insurance
undisclosed items. Is the category. That's basically the disclosures of anything. That was what it was. And they probably didn't even order the home. They probably also didn't include the recommendation for a home inspection.
And so what brought me to that thought was you mentioned when you got your offers,
they're professional.
4 of them were very, very professional.
Very professional.
So those are agents that have been trained and they know their craft. They're probably, and I don't know who they are. I don't know anything about the transaction. I'm just talking to you. My guess is that they've gone through training. They've got a broker they are a broker that's overseeing them, or they could be like my friend Linda Eisenman, who's been a broker for over 40 years,
right,
and still goes to all the trainings.
Yeah, smart lady,
right? So
I love listening to Linda.
Yeah, so I mean, the issues there is get that professional guidance.
Yeah,
and it says buyers win most often, and the common results: price reductions, cost of repairs awarded, full rescission of the sale.
Wow.
And legal fees and damages.
Ooh, that's
so,
I mean, real estate's heavy. It's a heavy expense as it is today with the price of housing. Can you imagine being caught up in something like that? And you're still looking for a house. So
yeah. And think about the concept here, because you've got, if you're involved in all of that litigation, your earnest money deposit is still tied up, whatever that might've been. You may have signed loan docs already, and you might be living in a house that has a foundation leak or crack or whatever.
Well, what if you closed?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Even worse.
You may have already closed. And
now you're closed, and now this is coming in the after fact, and there's no insurance isn't applicable. So you're on your own out of pocket both ways, both sides.
Right.
Nobody wins in that whole situation.
So it's another issue where I've shared many times. And you got to have professional guidance.
We've gone through it so many times, Ron. I mean, we keep saying, if you don't have an accountant, get to know one. At least you don't have to have them do your taxes, but the advice is like gold. They understand what the current tax laws are. You have an attorney you can chat with. You don't have to have him on retainer, and you can negotiate fees with them so that you can ask them questions about your portfolio and what you're doing next. A realtor, you should have all these people in your house.
Directors.
As we say, the household board of directors, man. Every time I preach it with you, because that's the help you need. It helped guide you. I have questions. I've been doing this for 45 years and I still have questions myself, because just when you think you've seen it all, you see one more thing.
Right. And something, one of the things I like now, but you have to, like everything, I use AI a lot.
Mm-hmm. I'm starting to enjoy it. It's really a very good tool.
But the big issue there, thankfully, Josh hasn't found somebody that's as ugly as me on AI and doesn't have my voice and charming personality.
he hasn't turned you into a Toy Story meme or whatever,
exactly.
avatar.
That's probably coming soon. But one of the things that you learn because of practice, even with that, is if you put a really, really crappy question in, you're going to get a poor response.
Right.
So you have to really, even studying that. So you've got 45 years of experience to craft a real good inquiry or prompt.
Right.
In whatever one of the services you're using. And you have to also know that if you put in the exact same prompt, I've put the exact same prompt into several services, you get different answers.
Right. Though, that you still have to remember AI is basically it's searching the entire web to gather the information for the answer. So it's still garbage in, garbage out.
Right.
You got to remember that and how it's drawing. I mean, the one that makes the news though is political questions.
Sure.
But most people don't really have a political question. They want to know is what are average houses selling for in the Yorba Linda area or Anaheim Hills area. So those are pretty straightforward.
But you have to put into that, even though, what is the average home price of a single family residence in Yorba Linda,
the more detail,
California,
the better. Right.
In 2025.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
If you don't put all that in there,
you could even add April of 2025 or March, wherever the data.
And it may come back saying that we don't have that current data, but we have that'll give you those answers. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, Jim Norton sold a house over asking price, but what happens if the appraisal doesn't come in at the sale price? We're going to chat about that when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. Again, when we come back, you can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, it's 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio. Or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Borrow Smart segment today being brought to you by GetHomeSelect.com. GetHomeSelect.com. Want to extend your 401k, make it last longer? Well, where do you have most of your assets? The vast majority of people I still hear, they want to get their house paid off. Don't know why. It is high risk. There is no liquidity. There is no return on home equity. So it fails on all three. The Home Select loan, you keep access to all of the liquidity. You can pull it out anytime you want by simply writing a check and just move it into another account. So you have complete liquidity. So when you see volatility in the stock market, sell. When the market's down, I was just listening to a hedge fund manager this morning, and he said he's finally figured out this market of the Trump market. When Trump speaks and the media blows it up, the market drops 1,000 points. Buy. As soon as he corrects himself and the market goes up, sell. Because you know that he's going to make another comment in a couple hours later. And if you're constantly just going about it that way, and you're putting that money into all the liquidity into your Home Select loan, well, just think about that. You're paying interest every single day on the loan. And if you've got an emergency fund, I've got somebody that just signed loan docs. They got $60,000 in an emergency fund. They're going to put that into the Home Select loan, so they're not paying interest on it. What kind of an interest rate are you getting in your checking account? Are you getting interest on your checking account?
Are you kidding? Yeah.
Right? So put it under the Home Select. You've got total access to it. FDIC insured banks are part of the sweep account. So all you're going to end up doing is having less interest expense at the end of each month, and you end up winning. That's the Borrow Smart segment brought to you by gethomeselect.com, gethomeselect.com. Continue our conversation. Jim Norton is with us. So Jim just sold a house, or I guess we're going into escrow today, or sold.
We're going into escrow today.
Okay, and
yesterday.
So 9 offers, 8 over asking, 4 that looked good, but they're all over asking price. And the question becomes, Jim, are the buyers aware that maybe the appraisal is not going to come in?
That is the conversation. It really wasn't a decision on the price. We didn't counter anything. Let's get straight. These were all straight offers. They were all grouped together, which was interesting. We didn't initiate anything on that. They all grouped together. So then it became a question of terms. Who's got what are their terms? What are the terms they're asking? And from those terms, who do we think is going to be the best person that will close? Because you've got to ask yourself, can you close this deal? You can't just go out and if something's for sale for $1 million, you just can't go out for $2 million. You won't get a loan. You won't get what you need. Your terms will be, unless it's all cash or something like that.
They prove they've got the money,
right? But then you're a fool, because now your return on your capital is terrible. So let's go with the standard. You want to make sure it's going to close. It's going to be a rational. You want a win-win decision for everyone.
Let me ask you this question before you keep going. So one of the things that you already told us that you've got four offers, all very professionally done.
Mm-hmm.
And now you said they're bundled, or packet.
They're all well, all 4 are right within dollars. It's not a price decision at that point. Now we move over to what terms do they need to close? Did any of the agents pick up a phone and call you and say, what is the motivation of your seller? 2 had that conversation indirectly. They were very good at asking what the seller's looking for, that kind of thing. Because sometimes it's not exclusively money. No, sometimes they want to stay there longer. Sometimes they want a fast escrow, a long escrow. Mm-hmm. They want other issues. Right. No, they of the top 4 that we looked at closely, I had spoken with all 4. Okay. Professionals working together. The 2 top, I had spoken with more than once. Okay, so there was conversation back and forth, and interesting enough, of those 2, they came to the open house on Saturday, came back again on Sunday. So you could tell they were doing their homework.
They were doing the due
They
diligence.
were looking at it close. They weren't just, oh, we love it and walked in, walked out. Let's put an offer in. They were methodical about what they were doing too.
So there's a possible. I mean,
Yeah.
first off, when you have 4 offers very close, you as a listing agent may be the one meeting the appraiser there,
Mhm.
and leave 4 offers all out on the counter, and they see that they're all very close. It kind of gives you an idea of what the market value is.
Mhm.
Now, if the appraisal doesn't come in, there are options.
There are options.
Right? So we've talked about many times on Ron Siegel Radio the appraisal gaps. You can look at rsrlinks.com/appraisal gap.
Mhm.
I'm a simple guy. I can kind of
Yeah, I love it.
RSR links. They all start with rsrlinks.com.
Can't get any easier than that. It's an appraisal gap.
Appraisal gap.
Yeah.
Right? So a lot of people think that if the appraisal doesn't come in, that's our impetus to renegotiate.
Exactly. That's the problem. Is that is the first reaction, and it's a knee jerk. But we went the other way. We had a whole discussion last night. That reason it took so long. We were on the phone. The buyer is with me. The seller. I'm sorry. Excuse me. The seller's with me. The buyer's agent's on the phone, and he's talking with the buyer, the couple that's buying. And we were discussing this exactly. We see this in the market. We see this for the appraisal. We don't get control over which comps he picks, or he or she or the appraiser does. So we need to look at it from our standpoint. Here's what we think. We think we can get to the value. We think we get the appraiser, but we don't have a guarantee that it is. So if this happens, we want you to be aware that this is what our position is going to be. And are you okay with that position? So we went back and forth a little bit and came up with an agreement. And in fact, when I leave here, I gotta go send that agreement back over for signatures. And so we addressed that problem right up front so that it doesn't become an issue that makes everything sour.
Sure.
But it could, anything and everything can always kill a deal. There's no question. But in this case, we're trying to take perhaps that main issue off the table so that we can all get back to what we need to focus on. They want to focus on, okay, what do we need to worry about in the house? What do we don't need to worry about? We need to focus on, okay, how are we moving through on the closing process? And we're going to make our timeframes. This is a 23-day escrow, not a 30, not a 45, a 23 with a loan in it. So it can be done, but you got to be diligent. You got to get all your, as they say, the old saying is you got to get all your ducks in a row and tight.
Got to be prepared, and got to have good people working it.
Right.
And it's one of the things, and you'll appreciate this, Jim, is our friends at Geneva are now doing for builders is they're looking at it and saying, okay, we'll give you a 10-day commitment.
Mm-hmm.
That we can get a loan done in 10 days. And when you get close to the end of a quarter or the end of a month and they're looking at carrying costs, 10 days can be can save. It's every day is money for the builder. You're
preaching to the choir. I remember when I worked for builders, my Christmas came in January. Because why? We're closing houses in the last 2 weeks of the year, which just happens to be Christmas. And we were trying to because we were a publicly traded company. And so it was all about get our numbers up. So if it was available for closing and we had closings, we needed lenders on our side because there's a lot of work in that back and forth, funding, rescission time, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of criteria in there that you have to be aware of, not just the inspections, the disclosures, that's paperwork getting there. But when you get to that and the actual money starts moving, that's a lot. But now, fortunately, it moves a lot better these days. I think the wiring is faster and that's a little bit better, but we're all used to it. It's not like someone's handing you a check anymore that you have to go and deliver. Well, you know what? I'm not sure if escrow even accepts a check.
They make them clear. Some of them do, and they make them clear.
Okay.
Great information. If you want to meet Jim Norton, if you have a house for sale, give me a call at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. I'll put you in touch with Jim, and as always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And of course, special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime. 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.